Hi, I'm Kris Tjornehoj from the University of Wisconsin River Falls Music Department. And with me is a very talented individual, Pat O'Keefe, of who I've had the honor to work with for many years.
Likewise, yes.
Pat, how many years have you been at River Falls?
It's over 20. It's about 22, I think, yeah.
One of the things you shared with me once is that the reason this place works for you is that, and I like to understand that, is that you are able to do so many different things as a performer.
Sure.
In addition to your teaching obligations and responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they all dovetail and work together
Yeah,
toward
yeah.
inspiring you and making you a better musician.
Right, exactly.
And so one of the things that you've done is you've been instrumental about bringing new music or world music to
Both,
the
yeah.
university. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, those are two passions that I have. Besides, being like a classically trained clarinet player and starting in the classical world, I really found these other two kind of like side hustles, not really hustles, but anyway, these other things that are related to classical music, the new music side, the contemporary music, and also the world music. Both are very, they mean a lot to me and always have. So I was always looking for opportunities to bring that here. And to your point about, that's one of the reasons I've enjoyed being here is, as I was first getting started. When I first came here, I was just teaching private lessons and, but I had these interests in other things. And I was thinking about, well, what can I do to expand my teaching opportunities? Because I found a long time ago, I really love not only private teaching, but classroom teaching. And I thought, well, I'm already at this great school. Why don't I see what I can build there? And the flexibility and the freedom was there for me to bring all these things. So that's one of the things that's been really great for me here.
Well, just know that we are very appreciative of you sharing your skills, your expertise, and you'll even sit in with the band and the orchestra when we really need an extra hand. And I appreciate everything that you do to be a collaborative teamwork person.
I appreciate it. Well, it's a great department, great people, so it's a nice place to be.
I agree. Well, the Twin Cities Reed Quintet,
Yes.
We're having a debut.
Yes.
Tell me about the group.
So, some years back, the oboist Carrie Vecchione and I played one piece on a concert. It's a piece that we're going to be playing on this concert. It's called Splinter by Mark Mellitz. And it was for a new kind of arrangement of wind instruments that, the typical wind chamber music group is the woodwind quintet, flute, oboe, clarinet, bassoon, horn. But this was a little different. It was oboe, clarinet, saxophone, bass clarinet, bassoon, all reed instruments. I didn't know this group existed, neither did Carrie. We were both like, this is great. This sound is so awesome. So we thought someday we got to, put together a group and do a whole program of stuff. So Carrie she runs a chamber music series out in Lakeville, Minnesota. And so she called me up about a year ago and said, hey, maybe it's time for us to put this reed quintet together and put together a whole program. So we did, and we thought, well, this is great. If we've got a program, let's find some other places where we can perform. So the first place I thought was UWRF, and to come and play on a coffee concert series. So that was kind of how it all started.
Well, and I love that. And what's so fun is that three of the members actually teach private lessons here.
Exactly. Yeah. Myself teaching clarinet and sax, and Carrie Vecchione teaches oboe, and Nick Ober teaches bassoon. Then the other members are Joan Hutton on alto sax, and then Jen Girth, who plays clarinet, who's been a fixture in the Twin Cities music scene for a very long time. All really great people and also really fun people to work with.
Well, and that is the best ingredient.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it makes you want to be with them, want to be together.
Yeah.
And you can feel that electricity in the performances.
Sure, when Carrie and I were talking, well, who should we call? It was definitely like, let's find people who are great players and really fun to work with. So it worked out great.
I love that fun factor. Your first selection is Arrival of the Queen of Sheba. Can
Yes.
you discuss this for us?
Well, a little bit. It's not a piece that I knew because it's a piece by Handel and it's a piece of Baroque music. So clarinets, we don't get to play Baroque music that much. I actually am the bass clarinet player in this group. But that was one of Carrie's choices. It has a really big prominent oboe part in it. And there's a very nice arrangement for reed quintet by one of the members of a well-known group from Michigan called Acropolis. Because this is sort of a new ensemble, a lot of the material, the repertoire is arrangements of earlier music. And then there's also new music being written for it. So this is a really nice arrangement from a much older piece, but great piece, very fun.
You're on the cutting edge with the new ensemble.
Yeah.
One of the selections is by Stravinsky.
Yes.
I remember a time when the faculty members at UW River Falls collaborated together. We went over to the Zeitgeist
Yeah.
studio
Mhm.
and we worked very hard on Soldier's Tale.
Yeah, that's a great piece. That was really fun.
Great memory in
yeah.
my fabric of collaboration
Oh, I'm
again
glad.
with my colleagues.
Yeah, wonderful.
You're doing a Stravinsky on this program with
We
the
are,
Twin Cities
and it's
group.
a piece that I arranged. Actually, this is a piece that Stravinsky wrote. He originally wrote it as a piece called Les Cinq Doigts, which means the five fingers, in like 1922 or somewhere in the 20s. It's a very classic neoclassical Stravinsky, and it was meant to be a piece for beginner piano students, beginning piano players. So that's why it's called the five fingers, because there's like 8 little movements, and each one, the melody only has 5 notes, all in one hand in one position. But even though it's like meant for beginners, it's still so Stravinsky, and it's so inventive and so beautiful and fun. And so I'd actually arranged the simple pieces myself for Woodwind Trio or other trios a long time ago. Stravinsky himself orchestrated those piano pieces in the 1960s, and he called it 8 instrumental miniatures for 15 players, a group of winds and strings. And so when we were talking about repertoire for this group, I really wanted to make an arrangement. And this was one of the first pieces that jumped to mind because I knew it would adapt very easily to the Reed Quintet. First of all, Stravinsky's full orchestration is very wind heavy already. The strings don't even show up until halfway through, like the 5th movement. The first 4 movements are all winds anyway. So I knew it would adapt very well, and it worked out really great. We're really having fun with it.
What a great creative output for you.
Yeah, I love to make arrangements, so that was really fun.
And it's great to know that they're going to be played soon.
Yes, indeed.
One of our selections is circus music.
Right.
And it's in 7 movements.
Uh-huh.
Circus music. Who
Circus
arranged
music.
that?
Well, this was a tricky one. It was written by a Dutch composer, and none of us have figured out how to pronounce his name. It's something like Toon ter Dust, we think. But the group that started the Reed Quintet was a group in Amsterdam called the Califax Reeds. They were the ones who kind of created this sort of late 80s into the 90s. So, and then they commissioned a lot of Dutch composers. So I think this was kind of part of that original commissioning body of works, these Dutch composers. So it's a really, really great piece. 7 movements, although none of them have titles, or they do not even like temp. We just get like a metronome mark for every movement. That's it. But it's really fun. It has a lot of character and a lot of color in it, and so it's a very, very fun piece.
You get to figure it all out without titles,
exactly.
without any instruction.
He leaves it open for us to interpret as we want.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun.
The next selection we're going to hear is originally for piano.
Yes.
I've studied these.
Yeah,
3 preludes,
yes.
George Gershwin.
Yeah.
Ooh, they're just beautiful.
Yeah, right. And they've been arranged for so many different groups. There's several different clarinet piano versions. Everybody plays these. So I think I've mentioned earlier one of the great groups in America is a group called the Acropolis Quintet. They're from Michigan. Really incredible. If anybody likes this music, check out their videos. They're stunning group. They started as students at the University of Michigan. And so they've been doing a lot of arrangements. And so this piece was arranged by one of their members. I believe they're saxophonist. I think so. But yeah, it's a really, really great arrangement of a piece that's a kind of a concert favorite for lots of groups. So we're really having fun with it.
He really left an impression on our country, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
He exemplifies that American spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Mellitz was one of our commissioned composers in the
Yes.
spring of 2009.
I remember it.
And I love his minimalism.
Oh, yeah.
I love his creative spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still writing today.
Oh,
I'm
he's
following
very-
him
oh,
around.
yeah.
He's quite the guy.
Very active. Yeah, very active.
I'll never forget bullfrogs. We had a song about bullfrogs in the orchestra.
Okay.
And so it was just something that's left such an impression on me all these years.
Sure, yeah.
You're going to do a work by Mark Mellitz.
Yeah, this is one of the standard works for Reed Quintet. In fact, Toon ter Dust's circus music and Mark Mellitz's Splinter, I think, are considered 2 of the most played Reed Quintet pieces. If you have a Reed Quintet, you're going to play these. They're great pieces. They use the instruments so well. And Mark's piece is just fantastic. To me, when you listen to this piece, when you hear the opening bars of the first movement, that is like the epitome of the sound of a reed quintet. It's what makes the reed quintet sound so great when you take 5 reed instruments and put them together. It's a really incredible sounds, and he just writes these wonderfully orchestrated, voiced, thick chords right at the top of the piece, and then this comes back later on and is fleshed out in an entire movement later. But it's like this is the epitome of the reed quintet sound to me, is the opening of Splinter. And then there's a lot of rhythmic energy in it. There's a lot of, he's a minimalist composer, uses minimalist techniques. So it's in, I can't remember how many, 8 movements, each one based on a different tree. It's called Splinter because the group that commissioned it is called Splinter Winds, and they're in San Francisco. And so Splinter, because like we're all playing on these little splinters, these little reeds. So it's a clever name on many levels. But this is a true masterwork for this ensemble. We just have a ball playing it. It's really difficult, but totally worth it.
We look forward to hearing that. Pat, you are in so many different groups and have so many musical opportunities that you create and participate in.
Yeah.
I know Zeitgeist I follow very closely, even if I don't get to everything.
Right.
And that is a great group that really was formed through UW River Falls people. Tell us a little bit about that.
Some of it was actually formed. Started back in the 1970s by some students from the U of M. And the U of M and McAllister kind of combined. But then eventually the River Falls connection came in when a woodwind player named Bob Samarato joined the group, and he was the longtime woodwind teacher here at UWRF. And then, of course, 2 of the percussionists in the group, Patty Cudd and Heather Behringer, are both alumni of UWRF, and Patty now teaches here and has been a long time as well. So that's the River Falls connection there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, Patty Cudd just got her 25-year certificate.
Right, yeah.
So we celebrate that all these people who come to River Falls are pretty darn dedicated and hang in there because they're able to do what they want, and their individual creativity is respected and encouraged. And that's beautiful. Choro Borealis with your brother Tim.
Choro Borealis, that's that group is it specializes in Brazilian choro music. Choro is like, I describe it as like Brazilian Dixieland. This is the stuff that was happening in Brazil in the late 19th and early 20th century when Dixieland and jazz were forming in America. Same kind of thing. It's kind of a mixture of European and African elements. And that's another style that, even though it has some older origins, is still very popular and is still very, very strong today in Brazil. And it's really, really fun music, primarily instrumental. So we have a little quintet, clarinet and flute, and 7-string guitar on cavaquinho, which is like a ukulele kind of type instrument, and then my brother Tim on percussion. So super fun music, super fun stuff. I'm sure we played a coffee concert some years ago, and I'm sure we'll be coming back sometime soon.
Well, and as we look forward to future coffee concerts, this is your invitation.
All right. Thanks very much.
Thank you. We look forward to having more music.
Right. Thanks, Kris.